The chamber stretched so far that Thomas Reed could barely see the opposite wall. Thousands of alien beings filled the tiered seats that rose into darkness above. Some had tentacles. Some had wings. Some looked like living crystals or floating clouds of gas. All of them stared down at the three humans standing on the small platform in the center. Thomas stood perfectly still. Next to him, Captain Diana Foster kept her hands behind her back, her military training showing in every line of her posture. Dr. Kevin Park held a small data tablet. Though his fingers trembled slightly against its surface, the Supreme Chancellor spoke. Its voice came from everywhere at once, translated into English by devices the humans wore in their ears. The Chancellor itself was a being of pure light contained inside a sphere of clear material that hovered above the highest tier. Humans of planet Earth, you stand before the Galactic Council. We have watched your species for 200 years. We have seen your wars, your weapons, your expansion into space. The Council has made its decision. Earth must surrender its independence. You will accept our guidance. You will limit your technology. You will stop your colonization of other worlds. You have 30 seconds to accept these terms. The chamber fell silent. Thomas could hear his own heartbeat. This was the moment they had prepared for during the entire 6-month journey to the council headquarters. He smiled. It was not a friendly smile. It was the smile of someone holding a winning card. No, Thomas said clearly. The chamber exploded with noise. Thousands of aliens began speaking at once, in hundreds of languages. The translation devices in the humans' ears could not keep up with all the sounds. It created a wall of angry noise that pressed against them from all sides. The Supreme Chancellor's light flashed bright red. You refuse the Council's judgment? Your species has existed for less than 300,000 years. The youngest member of this council has existed for 8 million years. You have no power here. You have no allies. On what basis do you refuse? Diana stepped forward. Her voice cut through the noise like a knife. Chancellor, you are making 3 mistakes. First, you think we came here alone? Second, you think you understand our technology. Third, you think we are asking for permission? Explain yourself, human. Kevin activated his tablet. Images appeared in the air around the human platform. They were star maps covered with glowing points of light. Mathematical formulas that made several alien scientists in the upper tiers lean forward with sudden interest. Ash. For the past 100 years, Kevin began, humanity has been building a network. Not a weapons network. A detection network. We have placed sensors throughout this entire region of space. Sensors that track every ship, every communication, every faster-than-light jump that any species makes. He changed the image. Now it showed the Galactic Council's own military positions, secret bases, hidden weapons, supply routes that were supposed to be classified. We know where everything is, Kevin continued. Every Council warship, every research station, every secret facility you operate. We have been watching you while you watched us. The chamber went very quiet. Thomas could see the Chancellor's light flickering between different colors. But watching is not enough, Thomas said. So we built something else. Kevin, show them. The images changed again. This time they showed strange devices floating in space. They looked harmless, simple, like navigation markers that help ships find their way. Over the past 30 years, Kevin explained, we have placed 4,000 of these devices throughout this sector. You detected them. You scanned them. You decided they were just navigation tools. Some of you even use them to calibrate your own sensors. But they are much more than that. What do? A voice called from the upper tiers. It belonged to a massive creature that looked like an insect made of metal. They control faster-than-light travel, Thomas answered. Each device can create a wave pattern that disrupts the fabric of space. Alone, each device is harmless. But when we activate all 4,000 together, they create what we call a resonance cascade, a wave of disruption that spreads outward at the speed of light. Diana picked up the explanation. This wave will disable every faster-than-light engine and communication system in a sphere. 8,000 light years across. No one gets in. No one gets out. No faster than light anything. For approximately 50 years, the implications hit the council members like a physical blow. 8,000 light years would trap thousands of star systems. Trillions of beings. The entire center of galactic council space. We're threatening to cripple galactic civilization, the metal insect creature said. Its voice shook with rage. We are offering you a choice, Thomas corrected. You can leave Earth alone. Grant us full independence. Treat us as equals. Or you can try to force your will on us, and we will activate the cascade. Then everyone learns to live without faster-than-light travel while we all figure out a better system of government. This is madness, another council member shouted. Billions will suffer. Worlds will be cut off from trade and supplies. Kevin shook his head. Worlds will adapt. Humanity survived our entire history without faster-than-light travel. We know how to live with patience and planning. But the council? Your entire civilization is built on instant communication and rapid transport. How long before your empire falls apart without it? The Supreme Chancellor's light pulsed rapidly. You would destroy the galactic order to save one small world. We would protect our freedom, Thomas replied. You came to our system and judged us without understanding us. You saw young species and assumed weakness. You saw different technology and assumed inferiority. You made the same mistake every empire makes. You thought you could control us because you are older and larger, but age is not wisdom, Diana added. And size is not strength. Humanity learned something during our evolution that you forgot during yours. The most dangerous opponent is not the strongest one. It is the one with nothing left to lose. Thomas walked to the edge of the platform. He looked up at the thousands of watching aliens. We sent the activation signal before we entered this chamber. If we do not cancel it within 6 hours, the cascade begins. You have that long to decide. Accept our independence, or spend the next 50 years trapped in normal space while you remember what vulnerability feels like. The Supreme Chancellor's sphere went completely dark for 10 seconds. When its light returned, it was a cool blue color. The council will deliberate. You will wait in the diplomatic quarters, but know this, humans, you have made enemies today. Powerful enemies who will not forget this threat. Then they will learn what humanity does to enemies who threaten our survival, Thomas said quietly. We outlast them. As guards escorted the 3 humans from the chamber. The council erupted into the most heated debate in its 10,000-year history. Behind them, alien species that had never agreed on anything began to realize. They faced a common problem. Humanity had just proven that being small did not mean being powerless, and the galaxy would never see them the same way again. The diplomatic quarters were beautiful. The walls changed colors based on the occupants' moods. The furniture adjusted itself to fit human bodies. Food appeared from machines that could create any meal from Earth's history. It was a cage designed to feel like luxury. Thomas ignored all of it. He stood at the window, watching ships arrive and leave from the massive station that housed the Galactic Council. Each ship represented a different species, a different world, a different culture that had bent its knee to the Council's authority. Do you think they will actually agree to our terms? Kevin asked. He sat at a table, running calculations on his tablet for the 100th time. 30% chance they agree. 70% chance they try something clever, Thomas answered without turning from the window. And if they try something clever, then we find out how good humanity is at improvising. Diana walked out from the sleeping area. She carried a small device covered in blinking lights. Found 7 listening systems, 9 surveillance cameras, and something that I think was trying to read our brain patterns. I have disabled them all. We have maybe 20 minutes before they notice. Thomas finally turned away from the window. Good time to be honest with each other. Kevin looked up sharply. What do you mean? I mean, we need to discuss the part we did not tell the council. The part where we are not completely sure the cascade will work exactly as we described. The detection network is real. The 4,000 devices are real. The cascade effect is real. But the calculations for keeping it contained to 50 years are theoretical. It could last longer. Much longer. How much longer? Kevin asked, though his expression said he already knew. Maybe 100 years. Maybe 500. The mathematics get complicated when you are dealing with quantum disruption on this scale. We won't know until we activate it. Thomas joined them at the table. And there is another problem. The cascade will not just disable Council ships. It will disable our ships too. Every human colony outside Earth depends on supply runs from the home world, Mars, Europa, the asteroid stations. Without faster-than-light travel, we cannot reach them. They will be on their own. For how long? Kevin's voice was quiet. S from starvation and equipment failure. The three of them sat in silence. This was the reality they had avoided discussing during the entire journey. The cost of their gamble. Diana spoke first. My daughter lives on Mars. She is 7 years old. If we activate the cascade, I might never see her again. She might not survive. Kevin's hands were shaking again. My brother runs the research station near Jupiter. 200 scientists. Their life support depends on parts from Earth. Without resupply, they have maybe 3 years.
Ow.
Thomas closed his eyes. My parents retired to the lunar colony. They are old. They need medical equipment that only Earth can provide. They all understood now. The weight of what they were threatening. The Council thought humanity was bluffing. But the truth was worse. Humanity was willing to let millions of its own people die to protect the freedom of billions. A chime sounded. The door opened to reveal an alien they had not seen before. It stood 2 meters tall, covered in scales that shifted through rainbow colors. Its eyes were large and multifaceted like a fly's eyes, but they held obvious intelligence. Ambassador read, I am Counselor Vex of the Talish Federation. I have been authorized to speak with you privately. Thomas gestured to an empty chair. It adjusted itself to fit the alien's body. Please, Counselor. Vex settled into the chair. I will be direct. Your threat has divided the Council. The younger species want to crush you immediately. The military factions are preparing plans for an assault on Earth. But the older civilizations remember what it is like to be in your position. You came here to negotiate, Diana said. I came here to understand. Your species reached space travel 300 years ago. You developed faster-than-light travel only 60 years ago. In galactic terms, you are infants. Yet you threaten the entire Council with collapse. What makes humanity so dangerous? Thomas considered the question carefully. Counselor, how long did it take your species to develop faster-than-light travel? Approximately 1,000 years from our first space flights. And how many of your people died during that development? Vex's scale shifted to a darker pattern. Perhaps 20,000. Laboratory accidents. Test flight failures. The normal cost of scientific progress? Humanity lost 800,000 people developing our faster-than-light drive, Thomas said quietly. Our first successful test created an accident that destroyed an entire space station. The explosion killed 40,000 people instantly. We knew it was dangerous. We calculated the risks. And we built it anyway. That is insane, Vex said. That is humanity, Kevin replied. We are a species that evolved on a planet that tried to kill us constantly. Ice ages, volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, diseases that wiped out half our population. We survived by being more stubborn than the universe. By refusing to accept that danger meant we should stop trying. Diana leaned forward. Every major technology humans have developed came with massive risk. We split the atom and immediately wondered if we could use it as a weapon. We created artificial intelligence before we understood how to control it. We edited our own genetic code before we knew all the consequences. We do not fear risk the way you do, because risk is our natural state. Vex was silent for a long moment. The Tolish have a saying. A cornered prey animal becomes unpredictable and dangerous. Is that what humanity is? Cornered prey? We were cornered the day we evolved on a world with limited resources and hostile conditions, Thomas said. We have been fighting for survival since before we had language. Your ultimatum is just another threat in a long line of threats we have faced. The difference is, this time, we have the power to fight back. But you offer cooperation, Vex pointed out. The cascade research. The improved faster-than-light calculations. That is not the action of cornered prey. No, Thomas agreed. It is the action of a species that learned cooperation works better than conflict. But we will only cooperate as equals. We refuse to be pets or children in someone else's empire. History taught us what happens to the weak. We will not be weak, Vex stood. I will convey your position to the elder factions. But Ambassador Reed, you should know something. There are members of the Council who would rather see Earth destroyed than accept your precedent. They believe if humanity wins this confrontation, other young species will follow your example. The entire galactic order could collapse. Then maybe it should, Diana said. An order built on forcing younger species into submission is not order. It is tyranny with better public relations. Careful, Commander. Words like that could get you killed. We are already under a death sentence, Kevin pointed out. The Council's ultimatum gave us no real choice. Submit or be destroyed. We are simply refusing to make it easy for you. After Vex left, the three humans sat in heavy silence. 5 hours left, Kevin said eventually. 5 hours to decide if we are really willing to sacrifice millions of humans to prove a point, Diana added. Thomas stood and walked back to the window. Outside, more ships continued arriving. The Council was gathering its forces, preparing for whatever came next. We are not sacrificing them to prove a point, he said finally. We are sacrificing them to save billions of future humans from living under someone else's control. That is the calculation we made when we accepted this mission. The needs of humanity's future versus the needs of humanity's present. That is a terrible calculation to have to make, Kevin said, as Thomas agreed. But someone has to make it. That is what leadership means. Choosing between bad options and living with the consequences. In the council chamber, the debate continued. And somewhere in the darkness of space, 4,000 devices hummed quietly, waiting for a signal that might reshape the galaxy forever. The alarm was not gentle. It screamed through the diplomatic quarters with a sound that made Thomas's teeth hurt. Emergency lighting flooded the rooms with harsh red light. Diana was at the door before Thomas could move. That is a military alert. Something is coming. The door burst open. Counselor Vex rushed inside, its scales flashing colors that the translator said meant extreme agitation. You must come with me now. The Krill Dominion has mobilized their war fleet. They are not waiting for the Council's decision. The who? Kevin grabbed his tablet and followed as they ran into the corridor. One of the oldest civilizations in the galaxy. They have been council members for 9,000 years. They see humanity as a disease that must be eliminated before it spreads. They ran through corridors filled with panicking aliens. Some were fleeing toward escape pods. Others were rushing toward defensive positions. The station was descending into chaos. How long until they arrive? Thomas shouted over the noise. 15 minutes? Maybe less. They have 800 warships. The Supreme Chancellor is trying to stop them, but the Krill are claiming emergency authority under the old laws. They entered a command center. The Supreme Chancellor's glowing sphere hovered in the middle of the room. Around it stood dozens of council members from different species. Everyone was shouting at once. Ambassador Red, the Chancellor said. Its voice cut through the noise like a blade. The situation has deteriorated. The Krill Dominion has invoked the extermination protocols, ancient laws that allow elder species to destroy threats to galactic stability. They are demanding we surrender you for immediate execution and transmitting attack coordinates to strike Earth simultaneously. Thomas felt ice in his stomach. Can they do that? Override the Council? The protocols were written billions of years ago when the galaxy was more violent. They allow any civilization older than 5 million years to act unilaterally against existential threats. The Krill qualify. Diana stepped forward, then activate the cascade. Now, if we do that, we trap everyone here, Kevin said, including 800 Krill warships. They will tear this station apart, not if we modify the cascade, Kevin said suddenly. His fingers were flying across his tablet. I have been running additional calculations. We can create a containment field. A bubble where faster-than-light still works while everything outside goes dark. Explain. The cascade works by creating destructive interference in the faster-than-light wave patterns. But interference can be constructive too. If we activate the devices in a specific sequence with precise timing, we can create a sphere approximately 100 light-years across where faster-than-light continues functioning normally. Everything outside that sphere shuts down, including the krill fleet, Thomas said slowly. They are outside our safe zone. We would trap them in normal space while everyone here stays functional. How long to implement? The Chancellor demanded. We need to send the signal immediately. The devices will activate in sequence over 40 minutes. The cascade will fully form in approximately 70 minutes.
Do it,
the Chancellor commanded. Wait, Thomas said. Everyone turned to look at him. Before we activate this, I want terms. In writing, witnessed by every species in this room, I do not have time for negotiation, a council member shouted. It looked like a floating brain inside a mechanical body. Make time, Thomas said flatly. Because the activation code is biometric, it requires my authorization, and I will not give it without guarantees. The Chancellor's light flickered through several colors. State your terms quickly. 1. Humanity receives complete sovereign status. No restrictions be. Yon standard diplomatic law. 2. The extermination. Protocols are permanently suspended pending full legal review. 3. Earth. And all human colonies receive council protection against retaliation from the krill or anyone else. 4. The Cascade Research becomes a joint project with all benefits shared equally. 5. These terms are permanent and cannot be changed without humanity's consent. You make demands while a war fleet approaches. The mechanical brain asked. I make demands because a war fleet approaches, Thomas countered. You accept these terms, or we all sit here and wait for the krill to start shooting? Your choice. The command center exploded into argument. Species that had not agreed on anything for centuries suddenly had to make a decision in minutes. Thomas watched the countdown on the tactical display. 13 minutes until the krill fleet arrived. Finally, the Supreme Chancellor spoke with a voice like thunder. Enough. Ambassador Reed is correct. We face a crisis that exposes fundamental problems in our system. The krill can attack without council approval. That proves our laws are broken. The humans threaten massive disruption. That proves our methods are inadequate. We either evolve or we die. The Chancellor turned its full attention to Thomas. Your terms are accepted with one addition. The agreement includes humanity as an equal party. We will not make the mistake of thinking we can exclude you from decisions about your own future. Thomas extended his hand toward the Chancellor's sphere. A tendril of pure light extended from it and touched his palm. Around them, other council members added their own forms of agreement. Data streams flowed through quantum channels, recording everything. Now, the Chancellor said, Send your signal. Thomas pulled out a small communication device. His finger hovered over the control for just a moment. This was it. The point where everything changed, where everything ended. He pressed the button. Signal sent, Kevin confirmed. Devices activating now. Cascade formation begins in 38 minutes. Time until krill arrival, Diana asked. 9 minutes, someone reported. The Supreme Chancellor's light brightened. All council members, return to your ships, but remain docked. When the krill arrive, they will find not a helpless station, but a unified council. If they attack all of us. Delegates rushed to follow orders. The station transformed from chaos into organized preparation. Defensive weapons came online. Shield generators charged to full power. Every docked ship, locked into defensive positions, Thomas moved to an observation window. Through it, he could see the darkness of space. Empty, peaceful, but not for long. Do you think they will really attack? Kevin asked quietly. The krill have been in power for 9,000 years, Thomas replied. They see us as insects, threatening their authority. Yes, they will attack. Diana checked her weapons. The Council had tried to take them earlier, but she had hidden several in places their scanners could not detect. Then we make them regret it. The tactical display showed new contacts appearing at the edge of sensor range. 1 contact. Then 10. Then 100. Then 800 warships materialized from faster-than-light travel in perfect military formation. They were massive. Each ship was the size of a small city. Their hulls were dark gray, covered in armor that had survived conflicts spanning millennia. Weapons ports opened along their sides, like the eyes of ancient monsters. A communication request came through. The Chancellor accepted it. The face that appeared on the screen was alien in a way that made Thomas's instincts scream. It had too many eyes arranged in patterns that hurt to look at. Its skin moved like liquid metal. Its mouth opened to reveal rows of crystalline teeth. "I am Fleet Commander Zell of the Krill Dominion," it said. Its voice sounded like breaking glass. "We have come for the humans designated Reed, Foster, and Park. Surrender them immediately." "This is not negotiable, Fleet Commander," the Chancellor replied. "Your actions violate Council authority. The humans are under diplomatic protection. Your extermination protocol claim has been challenged and suspended." "You have no authority to suspend ancient law, Chancellor. The Krill Dominion has protected this galaxy for 9,000 years. We know a threat when we see it. These humans possess technology that could destroy everything we have built. That makes them existential dangers. We will eliminate them. Stand aside." "No," the Chancellor said simply. Zell's too many eyes focused with predatory intensity. "Then you have chosen to protect them. Very well. The Krill will remember this betrayal. Prepare to be boarded. We will take the humans by force." The transmission ended. "Battle stations," the Chancellor commanded. "All ships, weapons free. If the Krill want to fight, we will give them one." But Thomas was watching something else. The tactical display showed energy readings building across space, quantum fluctuations spreading outward from thousands of points. "The cascade," Kevin said, his voice filled with awe. "It is starting." The devices humanity had placed throughout the sector were activating. Invisible waves of disruption began spreading through space at light speed, reaching out to reshape the fundamental nature of reality itself, and the Krill fleet was on the wrong side of the forming barrier. Fleet Commander Thomas broadcast on open channels. "Check your sensors. You have approximately 6 minutes to retreat to Krill space before the cascade traps your entire fleet in normal space. For decades, maybe centuries. Your choice. Attack us and be stranded, or leave now and live to fight another day." On the display, Thomas could see the Krill ships hesitating. Their sensors would be showing them the same thing Kevin's tablet displayed. An enormous wave of faster-than-light disruption spreading toward them like an unstoppable tide. "This is not over, humans," Zal transmitted. "You have made enemies today. Enemies who will remember." "Get in line," Thomas replied. "And next time, think before you threaten an entire species with extinction." One by one, the Krill warships turned away. Their faster-than-light drives powered up, tearing holes in space as they fled. The cascade took 6 hours to fully form. Thomas watched it happen from the command center, seeing the wave of disruption spread across sensor displays like a growing storm. When it finished, a perfect sphere of darkness surrounded them. Inside the sphere, faster-than-light travel worked normally. Outside, thousands of star systems went silent. The immediate panic lasted for 3 days. Species that depended on constant trade found themselves suddenly isolated. Governments that ruled multiple systems through instant communication discovered their empires fragmenting. The galaxy was learning what humanity had always known. That distance mattered. That isolation was terrifying. That comfort made you weak, but Thomas had no time to enjoy the irony. The Council had called an emergency session. Not in the old judgment chamber with its tiers of power. In a new room where everyone stood on the same level. It was humanity's first suggestion, and the fact that they accepted it said everything about how much had changed. "The situation reports are catastrophic," a council member said. It looked like a walking tree, with eyes scattered across its trunk. 4,000 star systems are cut off from trade. Resource distribution has collapsed. 14 species are facing starvation within the month. Then they need to adapt, Diana said. She stood next to Thomas, her military bearing making her presence impossible to ignore. Humanity survived our entire history without faster-than-light travel. Every one of those species can do the same if they stop waiting for rescue and start solving problems. It's easy for you to say, another member replied. This one resembled a cloud of glowing insects. Your species evolved with scarcity. We evolved past it. We built civilizations on the assumption that resources could always be transported where needed. You have forced us back into a primitive state. We forced you to remember reality, Kevin corrected. He stood at a science station, analyzing data streams. The cascade is not punishment. It is education. You built an entire galactic order on technology you took for granted. Now you learn what happens when that technology fails. The Supreme Chancellor's light pulsed steadily. The doctor is correct. This crisis exposes fundamental weaknesses in our civilization. We have forgotten how to be self-sufficient, how to plan for emergencies, how to survive without the systems we built. Perhaps that is the real lesson humanity offers. The lesson is not just about survival, Thomas said. It is about power. For 10,000 years, the Council has maintained control by controlling faster-than-light technology. You decided who could travel, who could communicate, who could expand. That power made you tyrants, even if you called yourselves protectors. The cascade breaks that power. The tree like being shook with what might have been anger. You speak of tyranny, but you are the ones who threatened to cripple the galaxy. We threatened those who threatened us, Thomas replied. There is a difference between defense and conquest. Between protecting freedom and enforcing submission. Humanity learned that difference through centuries of conflict. Now the galaxy learns it too. Enough philosophy, a new voice said. A being that looked like living metal walked into the chamber. I am Counselor Dax of the Forge Worlds. My people are engineers. We solve problems, not debate them. I propose we use this crisis to rebuild galactic governance from the foundation. The old system was failing even before the humans arrived. They simply accelerated its collapse. What do you propose? The Chancellor asked. We dissolve the Galactic Council. In its place, we create a federation. All member species have equal voting rights regardless of age or size. Military action requires majority approval, except for direct self-defense. Technology sharing becomes voluntary, but incentivized through trade benefits. And most importantly, no species can claim authority over another based on age or power, or the chamber erupted into debate. For Thomas, watching species that had ruled for millions of years argue about democracy was almost funny. Almost. But the stakes were too high for humor. The proposal has merit, the Chancellor said, but implementation will take time, years, perhaps decades. We must draft new laws, establish new procedures, create systems for resolving disputes without the old hierarchies. We have time, Kevin said. The cascade will remain in place for the next 90 days, as we agreed. During that time, the Federation can establish its foundation. When we dissolve the cascade, the new system will already exist. What about the Krill? Someone asked. They will not accept being reduced to equal status with younger species. They will see the Federation as an insult to their history. Then they can choose to stay outside it, Diana replied. The Federation will be voluntary. Species that want to join can join. Species that prefer isolation can remain isolated. But those who join do so as equals. No exceptions. And if the Krill decide to attack again once the cascade ends, the glowing insect cloud asked, once they can move freely, what stops them from destroying Earth in revenge? Thomas smiled. It was not a nice smile. The knowledge that we can activate the cascade again anytime we want. We shared the research with the Council, but we kept the activation codes. Only humans can turn it on or off. That makes Earth permanently dangerous to attack. Strike at us, and you might find yourself trapped in normal space for decades. It is not a perfect defense, but it is enough to make aggression very expensive. That is holding the galaxy hostage, the tree being protested. No, the Chancellor said quietly. That is balance. The humans hold power that prevents attack. The Council holds numbers and resources that prevent humanity from dominating. Neither side can destroy the other without destroying themselves. That is what peace looks like when built on mutual strength rather than submission. Over the next weeks, the debate continued. Species that had never cooperated began working together. The crisis forced innovation. Worlds that had depended on imported food learned to grow their own. Systems that had relied on Council protection built their own defenses. The galaxy was becoming less centralized and more resilient because of it. Thomas spent most of his time in meetings, negotiating details, resolving disputes, explaining human concepts like representative democracy and checks on power. It was exhausting work, but it was also historic. They were literally rewriting the rules that govern trillions of beings across thousands of worlds. One evening, Counselor Vex found Thomas alone in an observation room. The alien scales showed peaceful blue patterns. Ambassador Reed, I wanted to speak with you privately, Counselor Thomas acknowledged. What can I do for you? I have been studying human history, specifically your governments, the democracies and republics you created. They are fascinating and deeply flawed. Thomas laughed. I will not argue with that. Earth still has problems. Corruption, inequality, systems that do not work as well as they should. Yet you export these flawed systems to the galaxy. Why? Because flawed systems that can improve are better than perfect systems that cannot change, Thomas replied. The Council was perfect for its purpose, maintaining order across the galaxy, but perfection made it rigid. Unable to adapt, the Federation will have problems. Many problems, but it will also have the ability to evolve, to fix mistakes, to grow stronger through experience. Vex's scales shifted to thoughtful purple. My species has a saying, the tree that does not bend breaks in the storm. The Council was that tree. It could not bend. So humanity became the storm that broke it. We did not want to break anything, Thomas said. We just wanted to survive. Everything else happened because the Council forced our hand. I know. That is what makes it remarkable. You came here as supplicants begging for mercy. You leave as architects of a new galactic order. How does that feel? Thomas looked out at the stars. Terrifying. We are three humans who got lucky and stubborn in equal measure. Now billions of beings will live under systems we helped design. If we got it wrong, if the Federation fails, the blood is on our hands. But if it succeeds, Vex asked, then maybe the galaxy becomes something better. A place where young species are not crushed by old ones. Where cooperation matters more than domination. Where humanity can exist as equals rather than subjects. That is a pleasant dream, Ambassador. Dreams are all we ever had, Thomas replied. Dreams and the stubbornness to make them real, that is humanity's real power, not technology or weapons or clever tricks. The absolute refusal to accept that the universe gets to tell us who we are allowed to be. 3 weeks later, the vote happened. Every species in the Council cast their decision. Dissolve the old system and create the Federation. Or maintain the status quo and hope the cascade ended peacefully. The results were closer than Thomas had expected. 2,312 species voted for the Federation. 684 voted against. 104 abstained. The Federation was born. The Supreme. Chancellor's light pulsed with colors Thomas had never seen before. Joy, he realized. The ancient being was feeling joy. Today marks the end of 10,000 years of history, the Chancellor announced. The Galactic Council is dissolved. In its place stands the Federation of Free Worlds. May it prove wiser than what came before. Cheers erupted from most of the chamber. Others sat in stunned silence, unable to process that their ancient government was simply gone. Thomas felt Diana's hand on his shoulder. We did it, she said quietly. We actually did it. He survived, Thomas corrected. The hard part starts now, making the Federation work. But for now, for this moment, they could enjoy the victory. 3 humans from a small blue world had reshaped galactic politics, not through conquest or superiority, but through the simple refusal to surrender. 87 days into the cascade, reality prepared to change again. Thomas stood in the Federation's new command center watching technicians prepare for the shutdown sequence. In 3 hours, the devices would deactivate. The disruption field would collapse. Faster than light travel, would return to the thousands of systems that had been forced to adapt without it. The galaxy was about to discover if the Federation could survive contact with the rest of reality.
Final.
Status reports are coming in, Kevin said. He looked exhausted. They all did. 3 months of constant work had taken its toll. 94% of affected systems report successful adaptation. Starvation risks have dropped to near zero. Local production has increased by 300% on average. The crisis forced innovation everywhere. What about the other 6%? Diana asked. She stood at a tactical station monitoring potential threats. Struggling but stable. They will need aid once faster-than-light travel resumes. The Federation has already allocated resources. Thomas nodded. The Federation was not perfect, but it was functioning. Species were cooperating. Disputes were being resolved through negotiation rather than force. It was remarkable what beings could accomplish when they stopped relying on ancient hierarchies and actually talked to each other as equals. Any word from the Krill? Thomas asked. Nothing. They have been silent since retreating. But our sensors detect massive fleet movements in their territory. They are preparing for something war. Diana's hand moved unconsciously toward her weapon. But when the cascade ends, we will find out quickly. The Supreme Chancellor materialized in the command center. Its crystalline form had changed colors over the past months, showing stress and exhaustion that Thomas had not thought possible for an energy being. Ambassador Reed. Commander Foster. Dr. Park, I wanted to speak with you before the cascade ends, Chancellor, Thomas acknowledged. In 90 days, you have accomplished what I believed would take decades. The Federation functions. Species cooperate. The old power structures have been dismantled and replaced with systems that, while imperfect, are more just. You have my gratitude and my respect. I could not have done it without your support, Thomas said. You gave humanity a chance when you could have destroyed us. I gave the galaxy a chance, the Chancellor corrected. You simply provided the catalyst. But I must know, when the cascade ends, will you truly give up the activation codes? Will you trust the Federation enough to make humanity vulnerable again? Thomas had been dreading this question. He glanced at Diana and Kevin. They had discussed this privately many times. Argued about it. Lost sleep over it. We will share the codes with the Federation Council, Thomas said finally, but with conditions. The codes require authorization from 3 council members to activate. No single species can trigger the cascade alone. It becomes a tool of last resort for the Federation, rather than a weapon for humanity. That is our compromise between trust and survival. The Chancellor's light flickered thoughtfully. You give up your ultimate weapon. That shows remarkable faith, remarkable stupidity, Diana Mutt. Aired. Time will tell which. It shows that we meant what we said, Thomas replied. We want equality. Partnership, not dominance through threat. If humanity holds the only key to the cascade, we are not equals. We are tyrants who happen to be friendlier than the last tyrants. That is not the galaxy we want to build. Before the Chancellor could respond, alarms began screaming. Not the military alert from before. Something different. Something that made the hair on Thomas's neck stand up. What is that? Kevin shouted over the noise. Quantum communication breakthrough, a technician reported. Someone is punching through the cascade with a transmission. Should be impossible. But the signal strength is massive. Put it through, the Chancellor commanded. The main display filled with an image that made Thomas's blood run cold. Fleet Commander Zell, of the Krill Dominion. But the alien looked different. Its too many eyes blazed with intensity that seemed almost insane. Humans, Chancellor, members of your pathetic federation. I bring you a message from the Krill Dominion. We have spent these past months preparing, building, creating weapons specifically designed to penetrate your cascade. That is impossible, Kevin said. The quantum disruption should prevent any faster-than-light technology from functioning. It's impossible for you, perhaps. But the Krill have existed for 9,000 years. We have technologies you cannot imagine. And we have something else. Patience. We waited until you thought you were safe. Until you prepared to deactivate the cascade and celebrate your victory. Now we strike. The display changed to show tactical data. Dozens of Krill warships, but not outside the cascade. Inside it. Already within the barrier that was supposed to protect them.
Ow.
Diana breathed. We created vessels that do not use conventional faster-than-light drives, Zell explained. Ships that slip between dimensions. Technology we have not used in 4,000 years because we never needed it. But you forced our hand. You humiliated the Krill Dominion. Made us retreat like frightened prey. Now you pay for that insult. The display zoomed in on one target. Thomas felt his heart stop. Earth. Your homeworld is surrounded by our ships, Zal continued. We could destroy it. Turn your planet into dust and ash. But that would be too quick. Too merciful. Instead, we offer terms. What terms? Thomas forced the words out. You three will surrender to Krill custody. You will be tried for crimes against galactic order. You will be executed publicly as an example to other young species who think they can challenge their betters. In exchange, we will spare Earth. Your species lives. Your colonies survive. All we want are the three individuals who started this chaos. The command center went silent. Thomas could hear his own heartbeat, could feel Diana and Kevin's eyes on him. You have 1 hour to decide, Zal said. Surrender yourselves or watch your homeworld burn. Choose wisely, humans. Choose quickly. The transmission ended. Thomas's mind raced. This was the scenario they had not planned for. The Krill had broken the rules, found a way around the cascade, positioned themselves for a strike that the Federation could not prevent because the Federation's own ships could not reach Earth in time. We have to evacuate Earth, someone said. Get as many people off-world as possible in 1 hour. Kevin shook his head. Impossible. Maybe we could evacuate a few thousand, but billions would die. Then we fight, Diana said. Her voice was hard as steel. We have defenses, weapons. We can hold them off until help arrives. Earth's defenses are designed for conventional warfare, a military strategist pointed out. The Krill have dimensional technology now. They can bypass shields, appear anywhere. Our defenses would be meaningless. Then what do? Someone shouted. The command center was descending into panic. We surrender, Thomas said quietly. Everyone turned to stare at him. No, Diana said flatly. Absolutely not. That is not an option. It is the only option that saves Earth, Thomas replied. His voice was steady despite the terror flooding through him. We gambled. We won some. We lost some. But we always knew this was a possibility, that our actions would have consequences. Consequences for you, not for billions of innocent humans, Kevin said. His voice shook. Thomas, they will execute us. Publicly. Make examples of us. But that was always the risk we accepted when we took this mission. We knew we might die. We just did not know the details. Now we do. The Chancellor's light pulsed urgently. Ambassador, there must be another way. We can negotiate. Buy time. Find a weakness in their dimensional technology. We have 1 hour, Thomas said. Not enough time for any of that. And even if we had more time, would you risk Earth? Risk billions of human lives? For 3 people? Silence. We knew this would happen eventually, Diana said finally. Her voice was bitter, but accepting. Species that make waves get drowned. That is galactic politics. We just hoped we would surf the wave longer before it crashed. Kevin was crying. Tears ran down his face, but his voice was steady. My brother. I will never see him again. Never know if he survived. If any of them survived, but at least he will have a chance to live. That is more than the krill would give him.
Ow.
Thomas felt his own eyes burning. His parents on the lunar colony? Friends on Mars, the blue planet that had given birth to humanity hanging in space, innocent and unaware of how close it came to annihilation. We saved them, he said. That is what matters. Not that we die. That they live. That the Federation survives. That humanity has a future, even if we are not part of it. He turned to the Chancellor. Send a message to the krill. We accept their terms. We will surrender to their custody in exchange for guaranteed safety for Earth and all human colonies. Get it in writing. Make them commit publicly to the terms. Then we go, Thomas, Diana said. She looked like she wanted to argue, but instead she straightened to attention and saluted. It has been an honor serving with you. Kevin did the same. The honor was mine. Thomas returned their salutes. Then he did something that broke every protocol he knew. He hugged them both. Two people who had stood with him against impossible odds. Two friends who would die with him in a few hours. To humans who proved that their species could be more than just clever apes with weapons, the next 50 minutes passed in a blur. Messages to Earth. Final words recorded for families they would never see again. The Federation Council voted to honor the sacrifice. The krill confirmed their terms in writing, witnessed by thousands of species. A small shuttle departed from the station. Inside, 3 humans sat in silence. There were no guards. No one to stop them from changing their minds. But they did not change their minds, because they were not just humans. They were the humans who had laughed at a galaxy's demand for surrender, who had built a weapon from mathematics and stubbornness, who had reshaped galactic politics through sheer refusal to accept someone else's vision of their place in the universe. The krill warship waded in. Space, dark, massive, inevitable. As the shuttle approached, Thomas looked back one last time at the Federation station. At the thousands of ships from hundreds of species, at the new order they had helped create. Did we do the right thing? Kevin asked quietly. We did the human thing, Thomas replied. We fought for survival. We refused to bow. We paid the price when the bill came due. Whether it was right or wrong, history will judge. We just have to trust that the story continues after we are gone. The shuttle docked with the krill warship. The airlock opened. Beyond it waited Zell and a dozen heavily armed krill soldiers. Humans, Zell said. Its voice dripped with satisfaction. Welcome to your ending. Thomas walked forward. Diana and Kevin flanked him. 3 small figures facing an empire 9,000 years old. 3 people who had dared to challenge gods and laugh at their judgments. Before we go, Thomas said, I want you to know something. You think you won? You think killing us will show the galaxy that challenging the old powers leads to death? But you are wrong. Because now, every young species in the galaxy will know our story. They will know that 3 humans stood against the Council and won. That we forced change through courage and creativity. And they will know that when you could not defeat us with law or logic, you had to resort to threats against innocent billions. That makes us martyrs, heroes, symbols of resistance. Kill us, and you make humanity more powerful than we ever could have been alive. Zell's expression was unreadable. Brave words for the dead. We shall see if your species remembers you as heroes or as fools who got lucky and then got themselves killed. Only one way to find out, Diana said. They walked into the krill warship. The airlock sealed behind them. The shuttle returned to the Federation station empty, and throughout the galaxy. On thousands of worlds, trillions of beings watched as 3 humans disappeared into enemy hands. Some cheered. Some mourned. Some simply wondered what it meant. But everyone remembered. The species that had laughed at the galaxy's demands. The humans who had brought the mighty Galactic Council to its knees. The 3 individuals who proved that age and size meant nothing. Against determination and intelligence, the galaxy had demanded Earth's surrender. Humanity had laughed.